Yes, Vihu, tell me. Okay. A very good morning to everyone. My name is Arpana and I'm representing Super AI Polaris, which is a company which provide course structure related to artificial intelligence and coding for the students. Now, today, as we have covered many classes, this is the sixth class that we are taking. And in last five classes, we have learned about artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? So हमने artificial intelligence के बारे में बहुत सारे projects किए and we also learned about machine learning, one of the subset of artificial intelligence, and also learned about the three major domains of AI. Now, today's topic is all about Python introduction. Why Python? First question that comes to our mind. Now, why Python is the most popular language which is being used nowadays by every tech savvy person, right? Every programmer or coder is making use, or data analyst is making use of Python programming. And for creating machine learning algorithms, they're making use of Python programming. So why Python is becoming so much popular, right? So for that, I'll be presenting my screen. We'll be talking about Python history. We'll be talking about what exactly Python is used for. And even you people know that for 11th and 12th of CBSE syllabus, Python programming is taught in school. So why? What is the need of learning Python? That comes to our mind. So I'll present my screen and we'll talk about it. And we'll also talk about some of the Python basics also today. And I hope my screen is visible. Can anyone answer? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So let's talk about Python and the history of Python. So as I've told you, it is the most popular programming language which is being used nowadays, right? And Python is what exactly is Python? It is a general purpose, a high level interpreted programming language which has easy syntax and semantics. And why people are using it and who has invented it? So Python was invented or created by Rudolf van Driessen in 1991, but when it was created it was not so popular because it was a little slow. And now with the emergence of machine learning and artificial intelligence, Python has gained popularity. So whether it is a Dropbox, whether a Google predictive search engine, or whether you talk about Netflix recommendation system, everywhere coding is done with using Python programming. And why it is done using Python programming? The first thing that comes to our mind is it is very easy to learn for a programmer like you people who are small kids who doesn't know about coding or programming. They can simply learn this language Python programming because it has very easy syntax. Okay, now the second thing that comes to our mind is that what exactly Python is used for. As I've told you, Google predictive search engine using Python programming for providing better search results. And when you talk about Dropbox, where you save your files online, right, on cloud, its server and client application both has been created using Python programming. The third example that I want to give you is Netflix recommendation system. How Netflix, whenever you watch a particular video or something, next time when you open your Netflix application, you can see the recommendation system section at the bottom, which recommends that maybe you will like this kind of video. How Netflix is actually able to guess the interest of the people who are watching shows on it just by using, so it uses machine learning with Python to do so. So Netflix recommendation system also works with the help of machine learning along with Python programming. So we are using Python everywhere. It is used for so there are various uses of Python. So first is that for web development, server side web development. So server side web application can be used, can be created using Python programming. And the second thing, it is also used for software development. Okay, now comes the question. First question is, what is programming or coding? So coding, so we'll start with basic. Coding is the method of communicating with computer, right? Now if you want to get any task done from computer, you give instruction to computer, and giving instruction to computer, for that you need a programming language. So why programming language? Because computer is an electronic device which understands only binary language, that is machine language. It understands only the form of 0 and 1. So what is the use of programming language? So programming language are user friendly. You can learn these programs. Programming language, it's syntax, like how we learn English and Hindi, right? We learn about letter, then we learn about how to form words, then we learn how to form sentences. Same way, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, am I audible? Okay. So same way, when you want, so as I've told you, coding is a method of communicating with computer. And as we know, computer understands only machine language. But how we are creating these softwares, how we are creating these games, applications, or various algorithms which are working at the back end by making use of programming language. So these are high level programming language like Python, C, C++. What exactly is this? It is more or less like English like language, right? You can understand, you can learn the syntax, and then you can give instruction to computer. And when you give instruction, this gets converted into machine language, and computer understands your code, whatever you're giving instruction for. So that is the purpose of programming language. Now when we were talking about Python, as I've told you, Python has many uses. It is used for web development, server-side web application. If you want to create, you can make use of Python programming. You can also make use of Python programming for software development. So it can be used alongside software to create workflows. And also it can handle a big amount, amount of data, and can perform complex mathematics. So even in NASA, no, they use Python programming for complex calculations and all. They use Python programming. And also you can make use of Python to connect to database. You can read and modify files. So the many uses of Python programming is there. So these are the uses. But why it has become so popular, why people are learning Python programming nowadays? As I've told you, it gained popularity because of the emergence of machine learning and AI, right? And the first thing is that why it has gained so much popularity. The first the reason that it has gained popularity, it is that it is platform independent. You can use Python programming on Windows, you can use it on Linux, you can use on Mac, you can use on Raspberry Pi, and etc. So different operating system, it supports on every operating system that I've talked about. Now it has a very simple syntax. Syntax means English language has letters, and then you learn the rules how to form words, then you learn the rules how to form sentences, grammar portion of English language. Same way, Python programming has its own syntax and semantics that we have to learn. So it is more or less like English, right? And including the influence of mathematics also. So this syntax, that it is very easy to learn. Kid of your age can also learn Python programming, and because it is more or less like English. And the syntax also allows you to write programs with fewer line of codes, which in other programming language, the previous programming languages like C, C++, same program if you write in Python, it will be in fewer lines. Same program if you write in these programming language, it will be longer. Now the third thing that we'll be talking about is that Python runs on an interpreter system. That means you can write Python program on any text editor. If you can write it on Notepad, any text editor you can write, then you can run save this particular file with an extension .py, and then you can run it on Python interpreter. That I will show you also. Python program किस तरीके से run करना है and कैसे ये work करता है. And when we talk about programming paradigm, Python follows functional programming paradigm also. It also follows OOPS, that is object oriented programming. So these all complex topics that I'm talking about, you will learn in detail when you opt for the course, right? So functional way, it can work in functional way, it can work in procedural way, it can work in object oriented programming way, for solving real world problems. So the main reason is code readability, syntax, semantics. It is easy to learn because it is more or less like English. Is this clear, everyone? Anyone who has understood this part? I hope you were able to understand this. Yes? Okay. So when we talk about Python in comparison to other programming language, so how it is different from other, as I've told you, simple syntax, English like, and easy to learn with an influence of mathematics. In Python, we make use of indentation, while in other programming language, we make use of curly brackets. Okay. Now indentation is what? It is the number of space before the line of code. Okay, so these all will I'll show you when we run the first Python program. And obviously when the new line of code gets completed, like a line of code gets completed in the new line instead of parenthesis and semicolon, which happens in other programming language. So it is simpler to learn because of a syntax and semantics, and instead of using curly bracket, we make use of indentation. So this importance of Python in machine learning and data science that I have told you, we have discussed about it, that it is used to analyze large amount of data files for creating visualization when you want to create, and a large number of libraries that you get in Python programming. These are libraries which are already there, and it's an open source. Python programming, it's an open source. People all around the world, they're creating libraries, and you can simply like import these libraries on your system, and you can create a project of your own, whether it is a machine learning project, whether it is a computer vision project, or whether it is an NLP project, natural language processing. All these AI projects that has is being created nowadays, it can be created with the help of importing these libraries which are already there. You can import it, and you can use these for your projects, right? So that is the importance of Python in machine learning and data science. Now we have to talk about how to install Python. So as I've told you, with the emergence of machine learning and artificial intelligence, Python has gained a lot of popularity because of its simple syntax and semantics, which is more or less like English. Large amount of libraries, it's an open source, and you can import these libraries, you can use it, and you can create your AI and like machine learning projects simply, right? Anyone who wants to create it, you can simply make use of these libraries. The codes are already there, you make off and make changes in that, and then you can create your own project. Now the second thing that we have to learn, how you can install Python on your system. Nowadays every like PCs and Macs comes with the Python install, but if you still want to install it, so you have to go on python.org. Then you have to click on downloads. You have to click on Windows, the operating system, if you have Windows as an operating system. And then you, from here, you can install any set of file of Python. So depending on like whether your operating system is a 64-bit operating system or 32-bit operating system. So depending on that, you can simply install, and it's mentioned also what kind of operating system you have. So according to the version of operating system that you have, you can simply install the version of Python from there. You can install the setup file, then you can install Python on your system. Now I've already installed Python on a system. If I want to check, like for example, if you have PC and if you want to check like whether Python is installed or not, you simply open command prompt. The first thing is which version of Python you want to see. That also can be, so simply type Python, this and version, and then enter. So as you can see on my system, it is 3.9.9 version which has been installed, right? If I want, simply type Python command also, and I can see that which version is being installed. Now let's write the first Python program. Okay, on command prompt you can run like commands on here also. So now the first thing, to write a simple program of Python, I simply used a print built-in function, and I am using, I would just want to say hello everyone. So I am simply using it under double inverted commas, and I am typing hello everyone and closing the bracket, the round bracket, and then I'm pressing enter. So you can see the result here. Hello everyone got printed, right? You can run Python programs here. For running it, you simply first check the version, that is Python, and then you can write the command here. You can see the result also here. How you're able to see it? Because Python is an interpreted programming language. Yes? Anyone who wants to add something?
मैम आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही।
Am I not audible? Hello? Can anyone tell that I am audible or not? आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
I am audible. Okay, so as I've told you, कैसे Python install करना है? You will open python.org. You will go to downloads. You will go to Windows, and then you will like install the version of Python as per the operating system that you have. Whether it is a 32-bit or a 64-bit, you can simply install that package, and then you click on install, and the whole procedure is there. I will share a link also of how to install Python on your system. The video is there. You can watch that video and you can start writing like a Python program after installing the Python package there. So okay, so as I've told you, whether the Python is there on the system or not, what you have to do, you have to open CMD, that is command prompt, and then you have to, just a second, and then you have to simply type the command Python version, and it will tell you what version you have. If you want to run Python commands here, you type Python, and then you type the command, the simple command, which is print command. If you want to print something, you make use of print, a built-in function that is within the round brackets and then the inverted commas. For example, hello world, and then you close it with inverted like commas and then the round bracket, and you can see that we have seen the result here. Now once you install, this is how you run it on the command prompt. So how you write programs in the Python package? For that, you simply open Python IDLE. So I simply open Python ideally. So Python, as I've told you, is an interpreted programming language. It comes with Python interpreters, and you can write programs in any text editor. You can save it on your computer with .py like a file extension. Then you can run it simply on Python interpreter. So there are two kind of modes that you have. One is called interactive mode, and the other one is called script mode. So this is interactive mode, that is ideally integrated development environment. Now for example, if I simply want to type print command here, I can simply run it. So a string, like a character, sequence of character, can be simply written within single inverted commas, and you can see that I have written it within single inverted commas, and still I got the result, hello world. Now this is so every line that you're writing, you're simply seeing the result in front of you. Now if you write the whole program, you save it on your computer, and then you want to run it, you can simply open new file. The moment you open new file, you can see it here. Now simple same command, if I type it here, and I save it on my system wherever I want to save. So I'm saving it on and let's say that it is the first program. The whole program can be written and it can be run later on. .py. That is an extension, you save it. Now, if you want to run it, what you will do, you simply click on run, you go to run module, and just a second. You can see that it has simply shown the result to you. That is hello everyone. Simply same project. You can like the program that you have written, you can see the result here in the IDE shell. Now, so apart from this, you can write Python programs on Jupyter Notebook, different IDEs you can work on. Now, we'll be working today on Google Colab. Okay. So it is an online, ideally that is available. You can simply write the programs here. You can see the result in front of you. Instead of using the interactive mode and the scripting mode on your system, you can simply go online, open Google Colab, and you can write a Python program and can also see results over there. You can also install Jupyter Notebook, PyCharm. So many idealities are there, because you can simply import Python programs and you can run it on any Python interpreter, right? So I simply click on it, and we'll be learning of, what you have to do, you have to open Google Colab, then you have to click on file, then you have to click on new notebook. You will see the particular interface in front of you. So we learn how to install Python, we learn how to run Python program in command prompt. We also learn about two modes of Python, that is interactive mode and the scripting mode. Now we come here to the next topic, is that how you can write Python programs in Google Colab and can see the result over there itself. Any confusion till now? Anyone who wants to ask anything? Okay, so let's move to this one and we'll cover the next topic. So the reason behind popularity that we have learned, right? And we also learn how to install Python. Now, the next thing that we have to learn is about Python first program. So I've told you how to write Python first program in command prompt, how to write in ideally shell of Python, and also how you can write in like other IDEs, like online IDEs, like Google Colab, Jupyter Notebook. You can do that. So for example, if I write the same command here, it will run here also. And then you simply click on this button and you will see the result. Just a second, it will show the result to you. Okay, apart from this, every programming language has certain data types that we'll be talking about. So now we'll be learning about Python syntax, and we'll be learning about various things in Python syntax and the concept of programming language, like what do we call, what are variables, what are comments, how to write a Python. So you can see the result over here. Hello everyone, it is written here. Now we can simply go to presentation and we will learn about what are variables, what is print built-in function, what is comments. So these two things we have to cover. So I have already written programs for you, and I'll be explaining what are variables and what are comments in Python programming. Now for that, I'll be opening that document in front of you, and we'll be like copying the programs and seeing the result in the Google Colab. Okay, let's talk about Python variables. So what are variables? So when we talk about any programming language, variable plays a very important role. So what are variables? Variables are basically the containers for storing data, right? Any data value that you want to store. If you want to store a word, if you want to store a numerical data type or a string data type, so you can make use of variable. Now, Python has no command for declaring a variable, like in other programming language. In other programming language, if you want to use a variable to store a data value, you have to first declare that variable. Here, you do not have to declare. The variable is created the moment you first assign value to it. Now how? Let's just copy this particular program and run it on Google Colab. Okay. For example, I've simply given this command, that is x equals to 5 and y equals to John within inverted commas, print x, print y. That means it will print the value of y. See, though we have created two variables, that is x and y, and how it got the moment we assigned value to it, it got created on its own. You do not have to define the data type. Like you don't have to type int x or string y or character like in other programming language. You can simply like create a variable by assigning a value to it. Now simply run this particular program and you will see the result. So we wanted to print x and y, and we got the value of 5. X is 5 and y is John. So that got printed. Another thing is that, as I've told you, variables do not need to be declared with any particular data type. So what are data types? As we know that data types are very important in any programming language, because you handle lots and lots of data. And So it is very important what kind of data you're working on. So every data type has its own like feature. For example, if you're working with a numerical data type, so you need integer, right? We'll also talk about data types. Now here you do not have to, like in other programming language, you have to define the particular type. Here you do not have to assign, and even the data type can change, right? For this, let's understand with this particular program, and let's do it. So it is x equals to 4, x equals the same variable, that is x. We have assigned value 4 to it. Then we have assigned a string value to it, that is Sally, right? Now, what will be the result of this particular program? Anyone who can tell me? So what value will be printed? Anyone who wants to give it a try? Yes, we have so many KVs there, right? Anyone who can tell me? So what value will be printed? What value of x you will be getting?
Ma'am, please show me program.
My screen is not visible. It is there. Yeah. Is it not visible? So this is a program. X equals to 4, x equals to Sally, and print x. So what do you think? What will be the value of x that will be printed? So x is a variable. Are you sure? So right now I've told you that you do not have to declare a data type of a variable in Python programming, like how we declare in other programming language. Also, data type can change. The type of that particular data can also change. First, we assign a numerical value. Then we assign the sequence, right? We can assign a string data type that is within the inverted commas. That means it got overwritten. So if I run this particular program, the value of x will be Sally. Can you see that? Yes or no? Okay. So next move, like program that will be, as I've told you, if you want to specify the data type of a variable, this can be done with the help of casting. So what is casting in Python programming? Where you define the data type of that particular, like the object that you have taken. So let's understand with the help of this particular example. So simply type this. And what are these, which is written with the help of hashtag? These are called comments. What are comments? Comments are basically used to explain code. For example, it is written x equals to str. What is str? Str is a string data type, right? What is int? It is an integer data type. What is float? Float is a data type which converts a string or number to a floating number. We'll talk about these numerical data types also. So what will be the value of x? It will be 3. What will be the value? It will be the value 3 within inverted commas. What will be the value of y? It will be simply 3. And what will be the value of z? It will be 3.0. So what are these string, integers, and float that I'll talk about? Let's see. See, here you have used these built-in functions. Now simply run this. Okay. Just let me remove all these. Okay, I have to use a print command over there, and then it will display the value. Okay, so I will simply type you can change also, and then print set, and you simply run it. Can you see the string value is 3, the y value is 3, and the value of z is 3.0. So what are these? What are these string, int, float? These are numerical data types which are available. So as I've told you, in Python, you can simply assign, declare variable, like the type of the variable, by using, just a second, I'll just show you. with the help of casting which is there. The casting method can be used to assign or declare the data type of a variable. Okay, now you move to this like the last part of this, the variable concept, is that you can get the data type of a variable with the type function, built-in function which is already there. So what is built-in function? So there are certain line of codes which are already written. You have to simply call that function and those line of codes will be executed in the program. So these are built-in functions which are already there in Python programming, like type. So if you want to know the data type of a particular specified object, you can make use of type function which is there. Now let's run this and try to understand it with the help of example. Okay. So what happened? So here we have declared to created two variable x and y, and the first one is 5 and the second one is within inverted commas, that is John. So if you want to know what is the data type of that variable, you have to simply make use of built-in function which is type. So within rounded brackets you will type type, and under that you will type want to know the class of that particular x and the class of that particular y. So I will simply, just a second. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, so we'll get to know. Let's do the other one. So you can know the type of that particular or specified object that you have created with the help of type function. So these were all about Python variables. Now let's talk about Python comments. So I was telling you that what is the use of these hashtags which are there. Okay, we'll remove this one from here and we will run the next code. Okay, what is the use of comment? Comment is basically used for explanation of the code. So if you have written a long Python program and if you are getting confused somewhere, if you want to show it to someone and what is the meaning of each line of code, if you want to put some kind of hints for the person who is reading the Python program, you can make use of comments over there. So for code explanation, for readability of code, you can make use of comments, and also to prevent any line of code from execution. So we'll see it with the help of some examples here. For example, also comment always starts with a hashtag. So we simply make use of this particular, just a second, and let's run it. When you click on it, you can see that this line which has been written with hashtag, it is not getting displayed. We are simply providing an explanation for the user, right? You can type anything here. So this comment is for students to understand about comment. And if I run it, simply print hello world will be printed, and this result will be printed, and this particular line that you have written is actually to explain the code that you have written. So we can say that print like built-in function is used to print whatever you want want to display on the screen, that can be given under the round bracket within inverted commas. Okay, so this is how we make use of comments over here. Now let's move to the next example. So comment can also be written in a new line. It can also be written at the end of the line. So simply, if I simply take this particular example, and you can simply show it here also. So if I take one more line and print it, and if I write anything, this is to explain print. So I simply play it. Still you will get the answer hello world, that will be printed, and whatever you have written as an explanation of that line of code will not be printed here. This is for just for readability, to make user understand that particular line of code. Now you move to the next part, is that it comment is also used in programming, Python programming, when you want to prevent any line of code from execution. For example, there are two lines here, and let's understand about it. Add one more. and you just run it. So one line is written with the help of hashtag in front of it. Other is the print command that you have written. So what you're going to, so print is a built-in function, and you can see hashtag, this is a comment. So you simply click on it. So what will be printed? Cheers, mate will be printed, not hello world, because hashtag is being used in front of it. This line of code you don't want to execute. That's why you have added a hashtag in front of it. So this is related to comments. So comments are basically used for in code documentation to explain the code and also to prevent any line of code from execution. So this is all about comments which is there. Now let's move to the next point. That is data type. So what is a data type? What is the importance of data type? That we have to understand. So in programming language, data type is an important concept. My screen is visible. Is it visible?
Ma'am.
Yeah. So in programming language, data type is a very important concept. Variables can store data, as we have learned. If you want to store a value, like you can make use of variable, because these are boxes or container that store any value. So variable can store data, that we have understood. It can store data of different data types, right? And different data type has different like usage, or it can do different things. So in Python, the data types that are available, so there are these five type of data types which are used. One is numeric, dictionary, boolean, set, and sequence. The first numeric can be of three types, that is integer, float, and complex number. So when you're dealing with numbers, you make use of numeric data types, right? When you're dealing with sequence type, you can make use of strings, you can make use of list, you can make use of tuple. And then there's something called dictionary, boolean, and set. So these are the data types which are available in Python. And because you're handling lots and lots of data, so what kind of data has to be stored in a variable, what operation has to be performed, that is all decided by the data types which are available on Python. Now we move to the next point, that is Python number. So I'll just simply take you to the point. Just a second. Then okay, so I got two messages. Just a second. Okay, anyone who has any query till now? Okay, somebody saying that I am not audible. Okay. Okay, so we'll move to the next point. Am I audible? So I would request Roots to Roots people to make me the host, please. I think I got logged out. Okay, my screen is visible. Yeah. So as we have discussed, there are multiple data types which are available, and sorry, on Python, and then every data type has its own like function that it can do. So let's talk about the next one. Okay. The first thing that we'll be talking about is Python numbers, right? Just a second. So we'll be talking about Python numbers. So what exactly are Python numbers? So there are three type of numeric types in Python. The first one is integer, the second one is float, and the third one is complex number. Okay. So if you're dealing with numerical like numbers and all, you can make use of numeric data types. And there are three types of data types in Python, that is integer, float, and complex. Now, what is integer? So integer can have a positive or a negative value. It can be of unlimited length, and it does not have a decimal point. Right now, when we talk about float, it can be a positive number, it can be a negative number, but it has a decimal, one or more decimal points. When we talk about complex number, it has an imaginary number, right? So you all know about complex number. So I'll show you with the help of an example here. So first program related to Python numbers is this, and let's see what will be the result of this. My screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So let's write this program and remove the comments here. So the moment you assign the value to a variable, it is created. Now we have taken three variables, that is x, y, and z. Now we want to know its data type. What is x, what is y, and what is z? Because you can see j is considered as an imaginary part. We know that 1j is basically a complex number. What is 2.8? Because it's a decimal point number, so it is what can be the data type of this particular variable? It will be float. And what can be the data type of a variable which is 1? So integer can have a positive and a negative number. It does not contain a decimal point value, and also it can be of unlimited length. When we talk about float data type, it contains one or more decimal numbers, and it can be positive or negative. When we talk about complex number, it has an imaginary number. So we simply run this and we'll get to know the type of this particular. So you can see that type function, as I've told you, when we're talking about variables, that it returns the data type of that particular variable. So type X, so it will tell us what is the data type of this particular variable. So it is int. What is the data type of Y? It is a float. And what is the data type of Z? It is a complex number. So there are three numerical types in Python programming, that is float, integer, and complex. Now let's move to the next part. So you can also change the data type, numerical data type, from one data type to another. So this particular program is for that, and let's understand this by running this program. Okay, so I'm just removing comments from here. You will understand the x equals to 1, x equals to 2.8, and x equals to 1j. That means this is integer, this is float, and this is complex number. Now, if you want to convert integer to float, float to integer, and you want to convert integer to complex number, that can also be done by making use of type command which are there. So for example, convert from int to float, you will make use of float. Right, so a equals, so we have declared we have made use of three variable x and y, x, y, z. We have given value to it. One is integer value, second is float value, the third is complex value. Now if you want to convert it, how you can convert it? Now for that we have created three more variables, and this can be done how? So a equals to 4. So now x was integer, we are converting it into float by using the command float which is there. So float within bracket x. Now from float to integer, you simply say that b equals to integer y. So now this is a float number, a decimal point number. It will be converted into integer number. C equals to complex y. So for that you will be using complex command and putting under round bracket x. So who can tell me now what will be the data type of A, B, and C? Anyone who wants to give it a try. If I run this particular project, so a particular program, what will be the output? Anyone who wants to give it a try from any KV which is there. So you have converted the data type here. So what will be the value of, like, what will be the data type of A, B, and C? Okay, let me run this program here. So as you can see that first we have printed the value. So we have converted integer to float. So value of x was 1. Now the value will be 1.0. So you can see 1.0. Now convert from float to integer. So initial value of y was 2.8. It will be converted to integer. So value is 2. 0.8 has been deleted from there. Now 1j, this has to be, this was a complex number. Like for example, x was integer, so it has to be converted into complex, so its value became 1 plus 0j. And your type is also being mentioned here, that is float, integer, and complex. So this is how a data type of like numerical data type can also be converted. Now we move to the second like data type, that are strings. Okay, so string in Python are surrounded by either single quotation mark or double quotation mark. What is a string? Like for a simple print command that we have used, within round bracket, if you're making use within inverted commas, that becomes a string. Okay, string is a data type. It's a sequence of character which is there. Now let's delete these and try to understand string commands. Okay, so in Python, strings are basically under a round bracket within inverted, double inverted commas or a single inverted commas. Let's use this for example, and let's run this particular. You can see I had put it under double inverted, still I'm getting the result as hello. If I'm putting it under single, it is also returning a value as hello. Now move to the next point. Assigning string to a variable is done with the help of variable name followed by an equal sign in the string. If you want to assign a string to any variable, simple how you assign a value to a variable with an equals to sign. So we have created a variable called a. We have assigned a value string to a value string to a variable a, that is within inverted commas, and we have printed. Now you simply copy this command and let's see how it works. So we can see that we have created a variable a. Under this, we have assigned a string value that is within inverted commas, and then we have printed, and the result is hello here. Now you move to the next point related to Python string, is that you can assign a multi-line string to a variable by using 3 codes. It is not that only one word can be assigned as a string to a variable. Multi-line string can also be assigned to a variable. Let's see it with the help of this example. See, so I've written this multi-line string, but it has to be starting with triple inverted commas. It can be triple double inverted commas also. It can be triple single inverted. So you will be getting this whole text as an output that you can see. So we have created a variable. We have assigned a multi-line string to it by making use of these triple inverted commas. It can be a single inverted commas also. It can be double inverted commas also. Now move to the next point. So when you talk about string, right? So basically what are strings? String is in Python are basically an array of Unicode characters. So every character, like when we type hello world, so H is also a character, E is also a character, L, O, everything is a character. So it's a Unicode character. It has some value. Now, Python does not have a character data type. String character is simply a string with a length of 1. So now when we talk about hello world, if I want to know the position, if I want to know what is at the position 1, right? So every Unicode character has its like index. For example, if I run this command, you'll get to know. And print. For example, it starts with the position of H is 0, E is 1, L is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are 13 characters in this. Even we are counting space. So for now, we want to know that what letter is at a position index value 1. So if I print this, we will find that E will be the answer. If I want to know what is at position 13, okay, so let's see what is at position 4. So we are getting 0 as an O as an output, because O is at position 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how it works. Now we talked about Python string. So we can also find the length of that string. So what is the length of this particular variable which is has been assigned a string? So this can also be done with the help of this code. So now we'll add another block of code. To find that, we'll be making use of length command, which is there. And let's run this. So it is 30. Okay. So this is how you can find the length of that particular string that you have assigned to a variable. So this is all about Python string. Now, if you want to concatenate, concatenation means joining two strings together. That can be done with the help of a plus operator, which is there. So if I simply take an example of this, and I put it here. So in one variable, we have assigned value hello. The second is world. And we have taken another variable called C. And in C, we want this hello world to be concatenated together and printed. So you can see now the output will be hello world, right? And this has been done with the help of plus operator. So this was all about string, like Python string. We can move to the next part. Now, so numbers we have discussed, string we have discussed. Now we'll be talking about sequence data types. List we'll be talking about, tuples we'll be talking about. And so these are all types which are data types which are there, which can be used in Python programming. So when we talk about list, dictionary or tuples, so these are used to store multiple values in a variable. Right now we have learned that when we create a variable in Python programming, we have seen that we are storing only a single value. But if you want to store a multiple value, you can make use of list, tuples, dictionary, and set, right? And like there are multiple commands related to it. This is all will be covered in the next session, where we'll be talking about list, tuple, and dictionary and set. And like we have covered today's string, variables, Python numbers. We have also talked about why Python has gained popularity, the history of Python, and where all Python is being used. So this was there. And in the next session, we'll be covering the next part. That is, we'll be learning about lists, we'll be learning about tuples, we'll be learning about dictionary, and we'll be learning about built-in functions. So all Python basics will be covered in the next session. So I hope to see you all in the next class. If you have any query, you can type it in the chat box. I'll answer your question. Yes, please. You can type it in the chat box. So thank you so much for your time. Be there for the next session, which is on 30th. And we'll be covering the next part of the same program, like the Python basics. We'll be talking about lists, we'll be talking about tuples, set and dictionary, and we'll be also talking about like some built-in Python built-in functions and what is the use of, how you can use it. So you can today install Python, and you can actually, we'll be providing you the link of how to install Python, the video link. You can watch that video, you can install it on your computer. So anyone who wants to ask anything, they can type it in the chat box. So now I'll be ending the session. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.